If dogs could talk, the world would suddenly become a very uncomfortable place for humans. Not because dogs are cruel, they're not. It would be uncomfortable because dogs are honest. Deeply, painfully honest. The kind of honest that watches you eat another slice of pizza at midnight and says nothing. If dogs could talk, the first thing they'd say wouldn't be, "I love you," even though they absolutely do. They'd start with confusion. Genuine confusion about how humans manage to survive while making life so unnecessarily complicated. From a dog's perspective, you are loving, fascinating, loyal, and incredibly strange. One of the first questions they'd ask is simple. Why do you leave every day and then act surprised when you come back? Dogs don't experience time the way humans do. They don't understand hours or schedules. They understand together and not together. When you grab your keys and put on shoes, your dog doesn't think they'll be back in 8 hours. Your dog thinks something terrible is happening, but I will wait. So when you come home, even if you were gone for 5 minutes, your dog celebrates like you returned from a dangerous expedition. To them, you didn't just go to work. You survived the outside world. If dogs could talk, they'd also have a lot of questions that begin with, why do you do that? Why do you stare at glowing rectangles instead of looking at me? Why do you say you're tired but suddenly have energy when food appears? Why do you say you don't have time for a walk, but somehow have time to scroll endlessly on your phone? Dogs notice patterns. They notice priorities. They don't judge, but they remember. They'd also want to clear up a big misunderstanding. Dogs don't destroy things out of spite. If dogs could talk, they'd explain that chewing your shoes isn't revenge. It's comfort. Your shoes smell like you. When you leave, your scent disappears, and that feels wrong. Chewing something that smells like you is a way of coping, not rebelling. From a dog's perspective, leaving and taking your scent with you is rude. Chewing your shoe is emotional self-care. If dogs could talk, they would definitely talk about walks. And they'd want you to understand that walks are not about exercise. Walks are about information. Every tree is a story. Every lamppost is breaking news. Every patch of grass contains a detailed report on who's been there, what they ate, and whether they should be trusted. When you rush a walk, your dog feels like you're skipping important updates about the world. If dogs could talk, they'd say, "Please stop pulling the leash. I am reading." They'd also explain barking. Dogs don't bark at nothing. They bark at things you can't hear, smell, or sense yet. A sound 3 streets away, a stranger approaching, a plastic bag behaving suspiciously in the wind. Dogs take their job as protectors very seriously. Even the smallest dog believes with complete confidence that they are personally responsible for keeping everyone safe. If dogs could talk, they'd say, "I know I'm small. That's irrelevant. I am brave." If dogs could talk, they'd comment on the way humans communicate. Humans talk a lot, but dogs listen differently. Dogs don't understand words the way you do. They understand tone, emotion, and energy. You can say anything in a happy voice, and your dog will wag their tail. But change your tone, even slightly, and they know something is wrong. That's why dogs know when you're sad before you say anything. That's why they sit closer on bad days. If dogs could talk, they wouldn't brag about this. They'd just say, "I listen better than you think." They'd also like to discuss personal space. Dogs don't understand why humans need so much of it. Following you from room to room, sitting on your feet, leaning against your legs, this isn't neediness, it's love. To a dog, closeness is the whole point. If dogs could talk, they'd be confused when you ask, "Why are you always following me?" From their perspective, the answer is obvious. If you're going somewhere, I should be there too. Food would, of course, be a major topic. Dogs do not understand why humans eat so often but share so rarely. To a dog, eating is a group activity. Watching you eat without sharing feels deeply suspicious. The way dogs stare at you during meals isn't begging, it's hope. If dogs could talk, they'd insist that the phrase, "this is not for you," is morally questionable at best. If you're listening to this and thinking, yes, my dog would absolutely say that, this is a good moment to subscribe. This channel is all about understanding cats, dogs, and the funny, emotional reasons behind their behavior. If you love your pets and want to understand them better, you're in the right place. If dogs could talk, they would also want to talk about routines. Dogs love routines. Same walk time, same bowl, same spot on the couch. Humans sometimes see routine as boring, but dogs see it as safety. Routine means the world makes sense. When routines suddenly change, dogs feel unsettled. They'd also explain zoomies. Zoomies aren't chaos. They're emotional overflow. Too much joy, too much energy, too many feelings at once. Dogs don't suppress happiness. They release it. At full speed, usually indoors. If dogs could talk, they'd probably suggest humans try that sometimes, though preferably without furniture. Dogs would also want to talk about sleep. If dogs could talk, they'd say, "Yes, I have my own bed. I will sleep near you anyway." Dogs sleep near what they trust. In the wild, closeness means safety. When your dog sleeps near you, it's not just comfort, it's connection. They'd also want credit for emotional intelligence. Dogs notice changes in your mood immediately. On hard days, they're quieter, closer, more gentle. They're not trying to fix you. They're just present. If dogs could talk, they wouldn't say, "Tell me what's wrong." They'd say, "I'm here anyway." They'd also want to discuss rules, especially inconsistent ones. Dogs thrive on clarity. When rules change randomly, they don't feel rebellious. They feel confused. If dogs could talk, they'd ask for consistency, not volume. Car rides would come up too. Sometimes car rides mean adventure, sometimes they mean the vet. Dogs don't fully understand this betrayal, but they trust you anyway, cautiously. If dogs could talk, they'd explain why they greet you like it's the best moment of their life every time you come home. To dogs, separation is separation. Length doesn't matter. What matters is that you left, and you came back. They'd also talk about aging. Dogs notice when their bodies slow down, when walks get shorter, when naps get longer. But dogs don't resent aging. They adapt. What they don't understand is why humans are afraid of it. If dogs could talk, they'd say, "I'm still me, just quieter." And finally, if dogs could talk, they'd want you to understand one last thing about love. Dogs don't love conditionally. They don't care about your success, your mistakes, or your bad days. They stay, they choose you every day. If dogs could talk, the last thing they'd say wouldn't be dramatic. It would be simple. "Slow down, I'm still here." And if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this about cats, dogs, and the wonderfully strange ways they experience the world, subscribe to the channel and watch our other videos. Because if dogs could talk, they'd probably say one last thing. Thank you for listening.